Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Tuesday weather update recorded on August the 22nd. And we're covering New Zealand, Australia, but also Canada today with the wildfires and the remnants from Hurricane Hilary moves into British Columbia, which is some good news. But first of all, we'll kick off with our local forecast and low pressure to the east here, driving in a windy, wintry southerly for the Chatham Islands, and those southerlies continue on around the eastern North Island. They will ease though tonight, and in fact you've got another cold night on the way tonight as a result of clearer skies, which may see frosts through inland areas. Stormy stuff down here in the Southern Ocean, normal for this time of the year. And in fact, if anything, it's fairly settled. It's not really too stormy around the roaring 40s. Normally at this time of the year, it is pretty windy. So as we take a look at rainfall for the next 7 days, we're starting to notice a drying out trend. It is feeling and looking more like El Nino. The red and the pink you see on this map indicate rainfall is below what is normally recorded at this time of the year. So we are definitely noticing a large drier trend. However, the blue along eastern Australia, that is not so normal in El Nino. El Nino suppresses eastern rainfall for Australia and New Zealand. So seeing that means that it's not fully with us yet. That's part of the problem with the weather pattern. So we're still tracking El Nino, but it certainly looks as though it is starting to show up in our forecast. And if you take a look at Wednesday's weather, I mean, it's sort of a classic El Nino setup with high pressure over eastern Australia and to the north of New Zealand. Most of New Zealand dry for now. And on Thursday, although you will see a few coastal showers around, at this time of the year, we've still got fairly long nights and shorter days. And even though that is rapidly changing now, the lack of sunlight means that these showers linger a bit longer at this time of the year. They will dry out a lot faster as we go through the months coming up. So a few showers linger around the end of the week for New Zealand, nothing major in there. There is a cold front coming into Hobart here on Friday, and New Zealanders should take note because by Saturday it comes into the South Island around about lunchtime. And then it moves up with a colder change and wet weather. It also comes into Australia, but not very much, just a slight showery southerly really for some of you in the coastal southeast. But on Sunday in New Zealand and over here in Australia, that wet weather kind of moves in around this big high parked over Tasmania. So a bit of a gloomy day in Canterbury. It'll be wintry with the colder air, gloomier skies, wet weather, bit of snow on the mountains. North Islanders, not so bad to begin with, but by lunchtime, that southerly comes into Wellington and Wairarapa, and then later on, it moves into the North Island with only a few showers. It's nothing too major. In fact, Sydney's probably going to be wetter than Auckland will be from that same system. So let's go over to Canada now. This map we showed yesterday in our special video about Hilary, all the red dots you see on it are uncontrolled fires. They are wildfires that are burning out of control. Now, right across this western side of Canada, but this is the area down in the Rockies, British Columbia, and so you're west of Calgary and you're east of Vancouver, you're around places like Kelowna where they just had this major fire. So a lot of fires are burning in that part of Canada. There are also fires burning down here in Washington State, which don't show on that map. But here is the good news. The remnants of Hilary, what was a hurricane, now just a very weak low pressure zone, but it's driving in this tropical rain up into Canada, up into the Rocky Mountains, and you're looking at around about 30 to 60 millimeters, maybe even 80 millimeters in some of these areas. Really good news for the wildfires, and it spreads out across parts of Canada into Ontario later on as well, where there are also fires, but this is the main concern, and also into Washington State. One last thing that's not so good, Portland here in Oregon, they're worried about the rainfall draining out and causing some flooding. One negative, I guess, still with Hilary, but for the most part, this is good news for the wildfires burning around Canada. That's all from me. We'll be back again tomorrow with our next update as we track these highs and lows moving around New Zealand and Australia. We'll see you then.